I got the wrong screen up. There we go. So, good morning, everybody. How's it going? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I know I'm going to need more light to look at this comic book. Get my glowing forehead in there. How's everybody today? How's everybody this Sunday morning? Beautiful weekend on a crazy week. I don't want to talk about current events. I want to talk about comic books. How's everybody doing? How's everything? Um, this is Sunday Comics. We're going to continue with the X-Men run. I'll intersperse it with other comics every once in a while. I know I keep forgetting, but I want to get what is it? Tales House of Mystery 92, the first appearance of Swamp Thing. That's one that I want to do. I want to dig that out. I keep forgetting. So I don't know. This weekend I've been doing lots of sleeping. I just catching up on sleeping, and I watched Alien, the first Alien movie. I saw it in the movie theaters when I was a kid, and now I'm wondering if I went to a different movie because it was like watching it for the first time. I wonder if I just like filtered it out. I must have been terrified as a kid. Well, you know. So Tonic Bowl and myself will talk about that Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. John and Tonic. That's where we talk about movies. But I'm so glad I rewatched it. It was so good. But what else? What else do we have to talk about? Just filibustering until people wind in. Oh, some Tim Hortons coffee. Let's take a sip. My schedule hasn't changed. I'm still going to work 3:30 to 10. So I got nothing else to, well, I usually do my itinerary at the end of the show. And we got Dave Brink here. How you doing, Dave? How's everything going? How's Perfect 10? Perfect 10 by Genuine Comics. It's 6-issue run. It's not the end. There'll be an issue 7. 6-issue run is being collected into one. You could get it soft cover or hardcover over on Fund My Comic. Highly recommend it. Speaking of Fund My Comic, Heroic Tales 2, just waiting for 2 more pages to be colored, and then it's off to the races. Dave, the colorist, he has there's health problems in his family, and he lives in Brazil, and they have to travel 2 hours to this specialized hospital, and it's just been running havoc on his family. What am I going to get mad? So that's been holding up my a comic. It should be at the printer by now, but what are you going to do? So that's that. So here we go. This is X-Men 106, all new, all different. Look at this. You can see I got this. Look how I got this originally. Like I said, my first issue that I bought, I forget if it was 114 or 112. It was the X-Men. On the cover, it has Jean Grey and the Beast pushing Xavier down the hall, and they think all the X-Men are dead in the Savage Land. I got that one. I mean, I'll talk about it when we do it. But that was the first X-Men that I bought off the spinner rack. I heard the name X-Men at this point from just collecting comics, but I didn't know about them. That was the first issue. This one I bought at a candy store. There was a stationery store. They even have stationery stores, but in New York we had stationery stores, and that's where you went to get stationery. You could get birthday cards, greeting cards, all that stuff. You could also get cigarettes. You could get lottery tickets. They had like little weird toys and stuff, but they also had comic books, magazines, and everything like that. It was like an all-in-one little, not quite a bodega because they didn't really have sandwiches or anything like that, but it was like oak tag and pencils and erasers. It had it really is something that you don't see that much anymore. And he had this alcove in the corner, and it was just this like roundish thing, and it was just filled with comics. And this guy would never return to comics, so I found this in there because once I found the X-Men 112, I started getting any X-Men comic that I could that I didn't already own. So this was bought off the rack, and that'll show you because X-Men was bi-monthly, and 106 he still had, and the current issue that I bought was like 112. So that'll show you how many comics just piled up. This guy, I could go on and on and on about how I love that place. So that's where I got this. So this is literally off the rack comic. All right. So let's check out the chat from this. We got a bunch of people watching. My colorist worked hard to catch up. That yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He was supposed to be done 2 weeks ago. But what am I going to do? I didn't want to change colorists in the middle of a story. You know what I mean? And I just know that what I have to do going forward. Hey, Marcus, how you doing? Yes, get the Perfect 10 collection and the Perfect 10 floppy issues if that's what you're interested in. We got Ben Smar, voice actor. How you doing, Ben? Good to see you. I like when everybody says hello to each other. I like how civil. I like how friendly my chat is. Oh, good. I got the blessing. Good. This week could use a few blessings. What do you voice act, Ben? There you go. Business connections, networking. I've done everything from commercials, animations. Oh, I thought that said pornos. I was going to say, how do you do voice acting in pornos? You just moan a lot, right? You moan a lot and say, pizza's here. Did you order sausage? So there we go. It's all caught up in the comments. Let me just wipe my glasses. I think it's time to throw these glasses away. Oh, yeah, geez, these glasses are scratched. Time to throw these glasses away and get new glasses. Matter of fact, I'm going to do that right now because these glasses are barely readable. I buy reading glasses by the dozen off of eBay, and then I wear them until they're unusable. I got a couple of, as if you couldn't tell, I got a couple of weird personality tics. I refuse to change glasses until I can't stand it anymore. At work, I wear work gloves until they're falling apart. I try to use pencils and markers till they run out of ink. Like, I will not use another pencil or another marker until it's physically impossible to use it unless I lose it. Rolls of tape. I'm an electrician. We use rolls of tape. I will try to use that roll of tape until it's gone. It just drives me nuts to grab a whole new roll of tape because you put down a roll of tape, then you grab a new one. So I keep it in my pocket and I make sure that I use it until it's gone. Just things like that. I will eat food in chronological order. Like if I have leftovers, doesn't matter what I'm in the mood for, I have to eat the oldest food first. There you go. I keep daily reading glasses in every room in the house. Yes, my wife laughs at me because there's glasses. I panic if I can't find my glasses. I panic. So yes, I have reading glasses, but these are the glasses. Like I have glasses that I keep on the end table and I put on and I wear, but I do have backups everywhere in the house. And I try, because the backups are there if I can't find them. But those glasses, I give them a dignified toss into the garbage. So good to see you, Stippling. Stippling. Vaughn is also doing the Printer's Devil. And Vaughn, my wife and I watched your art video that you put on yesterday. Vaughn, Saturdays or Sundays, he goes to his local pub and he records like a 10-15 minute video of himself talking about comics. He's talking about his signed comics. He has a large collection of signed comics. He likes to go and get autographs from people at comic conventions. And what I like that Vaughn does is he doesn't chase after the highly collectible key issues. Oh, man, when people tell me key issues, my blood goes berserkowitz. He goes after comics that mean something to him, that he personally enjoys. And he has these nice little anecdotes of like the artist, writer, and whatever. They're like, oh, wow, you like this? I secretly really like this too, but, it went nowhere or whatever. And he talks about it in the pub. I assume he's having a beer. And then while he's doing it, he's working on the story that he and I are working on. And it's fun. So I called my wife over and she was looking at the page. She's like, this is for your book, and I couldn't have got a better artist for the story set. in between the Revolutionary War and the Civil War. So it's set during the Articles of Confederation. And Vaughn is doing it in I don't want to say an old-fashioned style, but like an old-timey style. It just looks it's just perfect. It's just perfect. Couldn't ask for a better guy to work on the story. It's so much fun. So much fun. Yes, I take them off. Yes, I'll take them off, leaving them to put in another. Yes, that's funny. So you have room specific glasses. Okay, these are the living room glasses. Yeah, and I imagine, you doing that intricate art. Yeah, that must really, I just need them for reading. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. And it's funny because Marcus will tell you every Friday, anybody that I'm working with, I send them a message. I try not to be a pest. I'm like very cognizant of like being like a jerk. I'm not saying I'm not a jerk, and I'm not saying I don't become a jerk on accident, but I try. I'm trying. So if I am a jerk, even though I'm trying not to be, that shows you. So just Friday morning, hey, how's it going? How's it going? How's progress? Things like that. But I don't have to send a message to Vaughn because he makes a video every week. you know. So yeah, here's the link to Stippling Vaughn's channel if you want to check him out. He makes like one video a week. It's easy to keep up with. What did I just do? Oh, I almost just banned Marcus. My wife had to eventually get real glasses. Yep. I am a specific pair to wear at the bar. Oh, yeah. I imagine you have I don't know, like higher prescription to do what you got to do. That is some detailed art. Stippling. I forget. Do you want to load up? I know your page is unfinished, but do you want to load into the Printer's Devil file? Put it into pencils so I could show it off. If you want to upload it there, every once in a while I could be like, this is the work in progress whenever I talk to show people, because a screen capture, isn't the best way to show off the intricate work that you're doing. Why is it on accident instead of by accident? Did I say on accident? Because I can't stand that either. It's by accident, and it's on accident. It's supposed to be. It's by accident. On accident removes the agency from the person. It's by you did it. My nieces. It was on accident. It's like, well, your job is to have as little accidents as possible, and it's by accident. You did it by accident, not on accident. Oh God, that drives me nuts. There's a bunch of little. So if I said on accident, it was on accident. All right, so let's check out this comic. We got a bunch of people watching. So 30 cents, all new, all different X-Men. Dave Cockrum's the artist over here. Just look at this cover. Dark Shroud of the Past. The Angel is back, and he's come to murder the new X-Men with their own leader's deadly eye blasts. Okay, so oh wow, look at this. Look at this. Fun tricks, free things mailed today. Ever like candles? I love this stuff. I love this stuff. And as I age out, going forward, check out the comic, check out the comments. And at the end when the comic's over, I'll keep going as long as the comments keep going. And I don't have to go anyplace, which I don't. I was working on the Raven story for Renzo, and just on the commute home Friday, I don't know why, I just was, sometimes like just playing music. I love driving and just playing music and then just letting my mind wander. I think it's something that we're not doing as much, just like free imagination time. I love my free imagination time. Like this week, I think it's going to be a productive week for me because the job that I'm on, it's just me. I don't have any partners. My foreman is going to be going back and forth between 2 or 3 jobs. So he's going to just show up, lay out some work, check that I'm alive, and go someplace else. So it's just going to be me. And what I do is I just put on headphones because I don't need everybody listening to my music and stuff like that. And then I'll be working, unless it's, super intensive, got to concentrate work. But most jobs after a while become like a routine. And I daydream and I plot out stuff. So this might be a a productive week. You know, when I have a partner, I appreciate having a partner, and, you know, we chit chat and stuff like that, you know. But anyway, this stuff I absolutely love. It's just so charming, and it's part of comic book culture. And like now as an adult, you realize that these people paying for these ads kept the comic book prices low and affordable for children. You know, I'm asking, we got 30 people watching right now, and I assume all 30 of you are comic book people. I don't know if all 30 of you are still buying new comics, but the percentage of you that are still buying new comics, make a note, send me a message, you know, put it in the comments here or whatever, DM on Twitter, but in the comments will probably be the best way to do it. Are there outside ads still in comic books? Because whenever I buy, I think the newest Marvel comic I bought was 2018, and I don't recall anything but house ads. House ads meaning just Marvel ads. So, and that's got to be one of the reasons why comics are so expensive, is nobody's advertising in it. These advertisements used to keep the comic books wonderfully inexpensive. So let's check this out. I see the comments are moving, but I don't want to get distracted yet. So we got Firelord over here. And if I remember correctly, this was my first experience with Firelord, because I got, this was like the second or third, fourth X-Men comic I ever got. And comics before 112, I just got whenever I saw them. So I read them all out of order. And it wasn't until maybe, I know this is going to sound like a long time ago, but it wasn't until about 20 years ago that I finally sat down and read X-Men in order, you know, considering this came out in 1977, which is, geez, 30, 50 years ago. I spent 30 years, you know, a little confused about the exact order of these comics. Can't believe I'm talking about that much of a time scale with these comics. So we got Firelord over here. Do not play games with me, human. Where is Phoenix? I told you, Firelord, she the X-Men, or you cannot reach them. Transported by the Stargate across infinity. Listen to this poetic speech when you're being threatened by a murderous fire alien, Herald of Galactus, to save the universe if they can from absolute destruction. So what do we have here? We got Chris Claremont in his nice purple prosy way, bringing the reader up to speed. Now, again, this was like the second or third X-Men comic I ever got. Right here, 2, 3 word balloons. If you count this as 1 word balloon or 2 word balloons, whatever. But there you go. Brought up to speed. He's coming after the Phoenix. Phoenix is not there because they're saving the universe. And we got Xavier laying on the ground. We got Misty Knight over here. We got Jean Grey's parents. You know, it just so many genres of comic in one panel. Cosmic space, you know, mutant, street level detectives, you know, right there. I mean, they're NPCs, you know what I mean? They're just Jean Grey's parents. But I just love this. And then we got the credits over here. Chris Claremont, Bill Mantlo. Wow. Brown, Bill Mantlo, Brown, Cockrum, Sutton, Rosen, Yacanis, Goodwin production. What did Brown do? Did he help with the art, or did he help with the plotting? And which Brown? Who's Brown? But I didn't know Bill Mantlo had anything to do with this. So there you go. Okay. Oh, I'll adjust the chat. A lot of chat. Where am I? Okay. Hey, we got RJ Williams over here. RJ3. What is going on? Oh, this, I forgot to remove the sticker that tells you the RJ Williams of Call Sign Orion. How's it going? A sip of coffee to you. RJ3. There's 3 RJs. RJ Shaw from Fourth Age is RJ1. RJ2 is Critical Blast, and RJ3 is RJ Williams of Call Sign Orion. And by the way, RJ Shaw of the Fourth Age is going through a family emergency right now. He asked me to let people know he's not sure when he will be posting videos. So just conveying that information. But we say on purpose. Hey, Matt Bowers here. How you doing, Matt? What's up, chat? How's it going, Matt? What's up, Matt? What's up, chat? It's like a little scat. How's it going, Every? How's it going, buddy? Oh, call sign Orion. Check it out. Check it out. Check. Thanks for the boost. Orion just hit 80% by an in-person back. There you go. Great. Great. Zach Tad's agreeing with me. Imagination time. Yeah. Do you remember as kids driving up to grandma's house? For me, it was a 4-hour drive to grandma's house. We go over the hills and down the woods. We drove from Long Island to upstate New York. My grandparents had this like little house out in the woods. Oh, I loved going up there. They had 2 channels. There was nothing to do. You know what I mean? And it's easy to be on board. And what you do is you use your imagination. I don't have children, and I assume you guys have. Do your kids like play? Just invent play. Like they need to do that, you know. And I'm addicted to my computer. My wife busts my balls all the time. I'm always looking at my phone, and and if you can see right here, I got my iPad over here, I got my computer over here, I got my phone over here. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just as bad, but at least I grew up for like 40 years without all this stuff. For what am I seeing recently? It's house ads. That's what I thought. Mundane tasks are ideal for exploring your imagination story. Absolutely. Hey, good morning, Omnipro B. How's it going? Firelord Ozai. Man, I should talk about Avatar one day. I really like that. Transported across the Stargate. Where is SG-1? Well, this is, 30 years before Stargate died. Like I said, show me anything cool on TV in the movies. I'll show you the comic that did it first. What are you too busy saving the universe to save your neighborhood? I know. What they need now is a detestable old black guy to yell at Green Lantern. Where are you saving the black skins and the purple skins and the brown skins? And you didn't save me from my own choices. Well, it's too busy. They're saving the universe. I hate that hard traveling heroes. Good morning, John and chat. Hope everything's feeling like, yep, it's crazy week, but gotta make the best of it. Bill Mantlo plotted pages 3 to 31. Bob Brown pencils 3-1 while Cockrum got drawn to the last panel. Oh, okay. Got my information from the Grand Comics database. I don't remember anything. Yeah, well, you shouldn't have said that. You got to let the mystique flow. You got to let people think. I always had to call children's service to get the damn phone out of the kids' hands. I always had to call to get the damn phone out of the kids' hands. You got kids, Stippling? Right, so let's check out the pages. So Xavier is just like freaking out. What's going on? A little bit of a. When Ledge appeared, the confusion he had, I felt the past months dripping away. And now that she's gone, it's as if my very soul has been torn out of me. Xavier, the nightmares are coming for me again. I have no strength left to fight them. This human cried out. Is he in pain? What do you care, Buster? You tried to kill him. In God's name, Firelord, what gives you the right to play judge, jury, and executioner when we've done you no harm? So here he is. This is setting up a flashback sequence. So my dream, Mara, every night, the same dream. My Lord, he thinks I'm Mara McTaggart. He can't deal with reality anymore, so he's running inside trying to hide. So we got this little psychic effect over here, and I'm so sorry I hurt you. Charles Xavier broke up with Mara, and he's in bed, and now what do we got? We got the X-Men in the danger room. Just flashback sequence, just action, excitement. The danger room to me, like, I just have to laugh. Like, like this is like unregistered. This does not comply with OSHA. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get superpowers or not. Like, oh wow, I just had an idea for a story. Is there an OSHA for superpowered beings? There you go. There's a funny little story to explore. But like, okay, so it's training exercises, but they could just drop steel girders on you. You know what I mean? Like are there regulations for like, okay, you are a class 5 super being with, whatever, like steel girder exceeds your rating for damage. That's super Sosha. You know what I mean? Like that. I think that's a funny idea. But shooting fire, Colossus turns into steel, knocks Wolverine out of the way, and breaks him. Now it just shows you how bad the Danger Room actually is. Like the X-Men are just a bunch of idiots, really. In reality, we got this Danger Room. Just drop a steel girder. Like, and Colossus was freaking out because like this is gonna kill Wolverine. You know, it's one thing to train you. Like the Marines just don't like training room. They got like a freaking robot that just stabs you, or just shoots guns at you. Yeah, you didn't duck. You didn't duck. You know what I mean? Like they make it dangerous, but like to hone your skills, but you know what I mean? It's just so ridiculous. So boom. And how did this get delivered? You know what I mean? Like, doesn't anybody see like there must be like a supply house that's dropping off? You know that mansion? You know that nice mansion up in Westchester? You go past Marcus Kellegrew's sister's coffee house. You drive another 7 miles north, and there's this beautiful mansion up there. They need a shipment of steel girders. They need some plutonium, and some nitroglycerin and laser springs. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't anybody notice what's going on? It's just the funniest thing. It's just the funniest thing. Let's check out the comments. Used to boyfriends don't have paternal rights to kids they're raising. Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. But yeah, I understand. It's a sore topic. Sore topic. You actually got me angry there for a second there, Sibling. But I'm with you. I'm with you. My boys didn't get phones until they're 13, and they weren't smartphones then. Yes. Super OSHA. Okay. So somebody's agreeing with only legal for people with these powers. What sketchy contract? Yes, exactly. What sketchy contract to construction companies is Xavier hire? Makes me think like, are there like Xavier? And of course, I can't help but tie it to the real world. To get all this done, they must be talking with sketchy construction companies, which implies there are sketchy construction companies, which implies how it makes it that much easier for a Red Skull and I'm trying to think like Moses Magnum and all of these other like mastermind bad guys to get bases. You know what I mean? Because the X-Men must use the same construction companies. Like Batman. How does he get all that stuff in the Batcave? Well, Chuck Dixon always says, without mentioning it, because Denny O'Neil liked to keep Batman separate. Without mentioning it, Green Lantern and Superman are helping him, and Wonder Woman are helping him with all of that stuff. But it diminishes the mystique of Batman to show that he's reliant on a magic space ring. So they just have it. Like Chuck Dixon had a story, and it got nixed. It was after was it No Man's Land? Which one? I forget. I think the earthquake was No Man's Land, and or was it Nightfall? I forget. But the Bruce Wayne's mansion was destroyed, and then it was just quietly rebuilt. So Chuck Dixon added into a story that it was built off-site, just completely built, and it was built on like a slab, and it was built, it housed on this slab, or built in an area on rock or whatever, or they poured concrete, whatever they did, and then he paid in cash, and the people left, and then in the middle of the night, Superman came with laser vision and just cut out the foundation. Green Lantern put a bubble around it, and then so one day there was nothing there. Next day, Bruce Wayne's mansion is fully restored. Now, that's cool and all, but how do you explain that to the neighbors? Like, like I know like Beverly Hills is kind of rich, but like nobody's going to notice a mansion just shows up overnight. You know what I mean? But I love that kind of stuff. I love talking about like the logistics of superheroes. And I know that like once you make it too realistic, but it's still fun to explore. Colossus could lift that steel girder easily. North Salem is a little farther, closer to where AOC grew up. Yeah, Sandy. Yes, it was No Man's. I knew as soon as I said it. I knew you would know the answer, Stippling. I knew. Oh, by the way, I agree with you. Rampage vibe team up comic. Go write that for DC. I watched the video yesterday. One episode of DCAU showed Batman's secret mechanics he hires for the Batmobile. Yeah, doesn't he have Harold? And I mistakenly thought that Chuck Dixon created Harold, but Harold existed before Chuck Dixon. Harold was this like hunchback dwarf that lived in the Batcave, and he was always working on. And I don't know about Harold's origins. I got to look up where Harold came from, but I love that. My favorite thing about the Shadow is that he has a team of operatives. You're going to see that the Patriarch has people that he relies on and he works with. And I don't know if Marcus read the origin. I sent Marcus the script. But you're going to see soon that he's going to start relying on those people more and more. Wayne Manor property is very expensive. Yeah. I mean, it goes down tunnels into the Batcave, and then the Batcave has connections to the water. Yeah, I love all of that stuff, the logistics of superhero stuff. Let's turn the page. Did Colossus get murderized right over here? Will Xavier be visited by the government services and be issued a fine? No, but Joe Weider will show up, building you a better body. That's right. I forgot that this was drawn by somebody else. Now, Marcus, you'll know better than anybody else. Is this because Dave Cockrum was on vacation, or did Dave Cockrum just need time to catch up? Was the dreaded deadline doom approaching? So, hey, let's hear it for Petey Pureheart, boy hero. What are you, bub, bucking for a medal? I thought you were in danger, my friend. I only wish to help. Next time I'll know better. That's for sure, bub, because I'm going to teach you once and for all never to cramp Wolverine style. On your feet, Colossus, so I can see if that steel skin of yours can still cut it out. So, see, I forgot all about this. So Chris Claremont wrote that opening Firelord sequence. Bill Mantlo and Bob Brown drew all of this. So this is a fill-in. So the X-Men, it's bi-monthly. Dave Cockrum is that slow. So they needed a page to catch up. Okay, and here is Wolverine. This is Wolverine. He's a jerk. Colossus, and I love how the steel girder now is just in pieces, but Colossus rushed over to save a teammate. So yes, he bumped into Wolverine, knocked him down. And how does Wolverine react? Not like, oh, geez, you thought you were saving me? Well, I didn't need to be saved, but thanks, man. I appreciate that. No, I'm going to murder you now. I'm going to murder because I'm a murder psycho. Hi, I'm Wolverine, murder psycho. That's my favorite Wolverine. He's just a jerk. He's unlikable and unlikable kind of by design. By Wolverine's adamantium claws. Back off, mister. Sheathe those claws, Wolverine, or so help me, my next optic blast go down your throat. I've just about had it with your mad killer act, pal. It's no act leader, man. And if you don't believe me, keep pushing. Now, this is something I didn't pick up as a kid. But Wolverine is all ready to kill, murder, go nuts. He gives Cyclops guff, but he always listens to him. He did pull back the claws. He yells, if anyone's going to back off, it's going to be you, Cyclops. You've been riding us all since Thunderbird died. Hitting us with the old X-Men that did this way, the X-Men did that way, and I'm sick of it. If we're edgy, it's because you won't get off our backs. So Wolverine is just a jerk. He's there. He's fulfilling the Hawkeye role to Cyclops as Captain America. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Marvel recycles a lot of ideas. Remember they had the old man scientist and the young hot girl. They did it with Reed Richards and Sue Storm. They did it with Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne. They copy itself. All the secret enclaves, the secret super advanced cities, the Wakanda, the Great Refuge, the where Iron Fist came from. Why can't I think of it? But Atlantis. There's a city in the Savage Land. Like the Eternals in Olympia. There's always a secret city that's super advanced. Marvel copies itself. And what do we have here? The Hawkeye being a jerk to the straight and narrow leader guy creates up a tension dynamic, and it works. And Cyclops, Wolverine, that's all Wolverine is. He's just the tension guy. He became cool and popular later. I'll say it wasn't until what is that? This issue, Cyclops, Wolverine Fights Alone by John Byrne when he fights the Hellfire Club. That was the breakout issue. That is the comic. Who is messaging me? That is the issue that launched him into the stratosphere. Before that, he was a B character. The midget has a point, boyo. Like it or not, the old X-Men is gone. The new X-Men may be a bit rough around the edges, Cyclops, but we're all you've got, if you catch me meaning. So now, like Cyclops wasn't wrong. Cyclops wasn't wrong. He had weapons out, adamantium claws that can pierce Colossus, and he was going to attack him. And Cyclops stopped an assault on a teammate who did nothing wrong. Colossus did nothing wrong. Now, Banshee's just like, all right. So I've never lost an X-Men. That's part of life, Bob. Coping with it is part of being a leader. You can't, maybe you should quit. And I like this. Cyclops has his hand on Wolverine, and Wolverine, this was the closest he'd come to an apology. And then we got Storm over here, just shoving her boobs in everybody's face. Hey, check out these boobs. I'm a regal African goddess. And I loved it. And she lays a smackdown on Wolverine over. Perhaps you should be silent, Wolverine. Some of us are weary of hearing your gravelly little voice hours on end. Cyclops leaves the X-Men, my friend. No need. No one else. And if that does not satisfy you, you should leave. So shut up or leave. Great idea, honey. A bunch now, why don't all you freaks go with them? How quickly they forget. Out of sight, out of it. You forgot Angel. So this bothers me. This bothers me a lot. I forgot how much this bothers me. But Wolverine, Angel is just floating in the air. His wings should be flapping to the point that they're almost invisible. You know what I mean? Not just, he doesn't hover. He doesn't have the power of flight. He has wings. He needs, he can't be here without them noticing. Why? Wings flapping makes noise, and wings flapping to support that much weight creates air disturbance. There's no way Angel could have snuck up on him. Just drives me nuts. He's going to read the story later. I sent him the script for Patriarch number 1. Xavier needs to work on his upper body strength. Those electrical wheelchairs are spoiling him. Good point. X-Men Comics was 2 months behind when Byrne took over. That's why it was bi-monthly. Okay. Cyclops having enough of Wolverine's crash outs. Wolverine does respect Cyclops to a point, even if they don't like each other. Yes. I agree. When Wolverine fights those Hellfire Clubs, yeah, iconic. That was Wolverine's breakout. Look at Storm over here. She's doing the kissy face. She invented the Instagram kissy face. So we got more ads over here. Again, all of these ads, every one of these boxes was contributing money and reducing the price of the comic books for the kids. So look at all of these sponsors. Look at them. I said look at them. And now we have a full page ad for custom. Oh, by the way, I'm taking out an ad in Alterna Comics for Heroic Tales. I don't know if it'll help, but I just want to be part of Alterna Comics. Alterna Comics was a big part of me getting into this indie field. Alterna Comics got me to meet people like Brian Bow and Fabrizio Aiello and Josh Howard, at Robert Geronimo, Pete Smetti. So I it wasn't crazy price. It was very reasonable. So I paid for an ad. I forget if I paid for a full ad or not. And then I sent Pete all of the images, and then I paid for him to assemble the ad. And then I would like to. This isn't 100% yet. I'm just telling you my plans. Marcus is working on a 2-page story for the public eye, and I'm going to submit it to Pete Smetti for it came out on a Wednesday, and we'll see. So that'll be cool to have an ad and a page. So when the art is done, I'll get it colored, and then I want to put some. I got to put it. I love a mystery little logo. Excuse me, on it, and then on the last panel, just like if you want to see more public eye, things like that. Let's get back. Michael Hart, can Wolverine's claws hurt Colossus? Yes, they can. They can. That's the whole point. That's why Cyclops had to stop this nonsense. Colossus is steel. He keeps saying organic steel, and I was an idiot at the time. I thought organic meant hot at this point, so I thought Colossus. And then you saw that energy transformation, so I thought Colossus was like hot metal, or at least could control hot metal. Or, you know what I mean? Like he could cool down if he's holding storm or something like that. But I thought organic meant hot. I didn't realize organic meant like living, biological. But adamantium is stronger than steel, so yes, adamantium can hurt Colossus, and it has happened a few times, notably when Sim, that demon, took Wolverine's claws from another dimension and then threw it at Colossus, and it pierced him. So don't knock the threads one at a time, before you turn the team into a real life creature feature. So now they're making fun of them. Now we got the Beast over here. Wait, this makes no sense. When Hank McCoy called from the Avengers Mansion to warn of the Doomsmith scenario, he was a true beast. So, Wolverine, Nightcrawler over here is showing that something ain't all that it's cracked up to be. Hank McCoy at this point is blue and furry. I was introduced to the Beast in the Avengers around 150, 152, somewhere around that. I started collecting the Avengers, and so I didn't know that Beast looked like this until X-Men 137 or 138 when he wore the mask of his old face. I was like, really? Like, old X-Men comics were hard to find, and I didn't go to comic book stores until then, until years after that. So I didn't know about this old X-Men stuff. So watch your mouth, Fuzzy Wuzzy. Nobody calls my buddy an animal and gets away with it. This is the same. Just weeks ago, we parted as friends, friends of mine, which, so classic, fill in, come up with the story. The old X-Men versus the new X-Men. New X-Men would clobber the old X-Men. The only thing that the old X-Men have on the new X-Men is better teamwork. And teamwork is a superpower. We're not to be hey, you chose to leave. We did not force you. We changed our minds, Furball. Why don't you pack up the Psycho here, get do a portable padded cell and get out? Who are you calling a psycho punk? Why you? So he takes out the claws, ready to murder Iceman because he called him a psycho, thus proving his point. If you call us names, we get to justifiably murder you. What's going on? I want some explanations, and then it just bothers me that they're not showing his wings flapping. You know what I mean? He's just jumping in the air and flying. His wings should be flapping. Make some motion or whatever. No comments, so I will turn the page. Spider-Man. I had the Spider-Man one of this. It was like you put it on your wrist, you push the button, and it shot a suction cup with the string. Now, it was weird because it had Spider-Man's face on it, but it made sense. It had a string, and you pretended you were shooting webs. The Hulk one makes no sense. The Hulk or the Captain America one has a shield at least. And these were little statues. They were one color. I had Iron Man, Daredevil, Thor, Spider-Man. I had them all but the Hulk, now that I realize. I never had the Hulk, or did I have the Hulk? I don't know, but I had all of these. They would be fun to get now and paint, now that I think about it. Because they were all like one primary color. The Hulk one was green. The Daredevil one was red. I think the Hulk, I think they were all red now that I think about it. Right, so let's get back to this. So now He's throwing Cyclops at him. Banshee catches. Jean Grey's, this story's nothing. It's funny how like every other issue is just like poorly plotted out, fill in. It just seems like Chris Claremont, he was dropping seeds of big stories. But it's funny how memory plays tricks. I remember loving these so much better, and now that I'm looking at them again, this is like the first time in years. Like, this is so obviously a fill-in issue. So Jean Grey's using the danger room against him, and again, she's tried to blast me with lasers and high velocity stun shells. That's another thing. Like, these contractors are just like dropping off bullets and high caliber, explosives. So she's using her wind power to deflect. This I always thought was cool. So Wolverine's coming at Iceman. The power to create like matter like this. This is like a step below Green Lantern. So he's just encompassing Wolverine, and then I love this. Look how long his claws get. Inconsistency right there, but he just shatters the ice. Not bad, Wolverine. With movies like that, you're a shoe-in for a guest spot on Wild Kingdom. See, now they're at least putting motion lines up here. Relax, Scotty. I'll take care of this for you. Now, I know I'm being nitpicky, but like, he shouldn't be talking when he's flying, because in order to fly, he needs to maintain the scream. And I did like the First Class movie. Like, whenever Banshee was flying, he was like rocket flying. Like, he doesn't hover, he doesn't go slow. It's either full speed or he's not flying. So, that's just me being nitpicky. So Cyclops is panicking because he knows Banshee is going to get his head handed to him, because, like it or not, Angel is more trained. That superhero merchandise company eventually became Heroes World. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. That's cool. The new X-Men have the fastball special team maneuver, but that's it. Was there ever another team more involving other teammates? The Fantastic Four used teamwork a lot. And the Avengers, some writers had them like as a well-honed unit that they used teamwork, and then most of the time they were just a bunch of individual warriors as opposed to soldiers. It's funny because if you read the old X-Men comics, it was warriors, just 5 warriors fighting Magneto, and once in a while Cyclops would tell them to do something, and now in retrospect they're making them a well-honed team. But teamwork is, in comic books, it's like teamwork is hard to pull off, or at least it's something that the writers don't show very well. They just tell us for the most part. But like, every once in a while you will see cool teamwork. The fastball special, it's not like Cyclops said do this, but every once in a while you'll see Cyclops like ordering everybody around, but the teamwork is just like, teamwork. We're just going to say they use teamwork. We're not going to show it. Stuff like Angel flying is because the artist wasn't familiar with the characters. More like, yeah, I agree. This comic just screams rush job. So, Warren Laddie, I don't know it's turned you against us, but we'll not go down without a fight. And I love this. Banshee knows the X-Men. What was it? Issue 46 he debuted or something like that. But look how willing superheroes are. Like, something about superpowers just makes you aggressive. You know what I mean? Like, if one of my old friends showed up and was like, "You jerk," I hate, like, you in real life, like, you just don't rush out to punch them in the face, but they do. He just punches them right in the back. Right. So what do? He screams. And this just shows unfamiliarity with their powers. All right, then let's see how much Boyo likes it. A tight beam sonic blast. So he screams, "God in heavens, my ears, my mind." My mind? Okay, my ears. But my mind, has there ever been a psychic component to Banshee's scream? Not that I know of. He didn't even try to break his fall. That scream must have overloaded his brain, knocked him, you know what I mean? Such concern for someone who's trying to kill you. Touched. Oh, you're out cold. I blocked him out with earplugs and never felt a thing. It was all an act. Hammerlock. You know. Oh, so he's faking it. He's faking it. Don't worry, I'll have you free. So what's he do? He pulls off the blast. Boom. Shazam. Look at that. Shazam. Look out, Peter. He's got my eye beams. Bam. Bam. You think Cyclops energy blast can stop? Then you don't know Colossus. You know. And yes, Cyclops' blasts are that powerful. And I love this. He's giving them elbows to the head. Boom. 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 You know, whoever you are, you talk too much. You said that you protected yourself from Banshee screams, but with earplugs, but that low frequency harmonics you would have used would have hit you through your skull, through bone. The real human Warren Worthington would have been out cold in an instant, out for hours. Whoever you are, you're not him. So Cyclops is using his familiarity with the X-Men powers to figure out this all ain't what it seems to be. And I'm all caught up with comments, so I'll go right to the next page. Oh, it's an ad. We got Master of the World by Jules Verne and Food of the Gods. Marvel Classics. I never got these. Godzilla. I avoided Godzilla comics as a kid. I bought a full run of them later on, but I avoided these because even as a kid, I couldn't articulate why I didn't like them, but I knew it wasn't part of Marvel. Like intellectual properties, yeah, buy them. Make comics. You know, make a James Bond comic. Make a Raiders of the Lost Ark comic. But when you fold it into Marvel, it bothered me because you knew it was only a matter of time before it wasn't. And then that we just have to conveniently ignore. So, like in a world where Godzilla wakes up and destroys Tokyo, but like you don't just ignore that 5 years later. You know what I mean? Like you have to reference it. Like that there's giant kaiju that wrecks things. Like the X-Men. I'm not the X-Men, like the Micronauts. I love the Micronauts, but I still think it was a mistake to fold them and have them meeting the X-Men and the Avengers and stuff like that. Because they can and did lose the rights to publish them. Except I think Marvel could still use Bug. And can they use Marionette? Because there wasn't a mic, you know, like so those must have been, but Bug has been brought into the Guardians of the Galaxy comics, you know. But Godzilla, like, make Godzilla comics, but don't make it Marvel property proper. You know, same with Shogun Warriors, you know, things like that. So here we got an explanation of what's going on. You know, some of you may have noticed, unless you prefer perusing the letter column before the books, the issue of the X-Men is not the much ballyhooed, much awaited conclusion of the Princess Xavier's dream Star War. Eric the Red, he even said Star War subplot that Dave and I have been working on for longer than we'd like to think. The reasons too diverse to mention, including among them a certain artist's mad determination to work on his first Marvel issue of a certain sword-wielding Southerner transplanted to very foreign climes, Mars to be specific. So Dave Cockrum is also working on a John Carter Warlord of Mars, so he's splitting his attention. That was such a big deal. John Carter Warlord of Mars was such a big deal, you know, in the 70s. Oh man. And then now it's just forgotten, and then Disney botched the movie, and it's like a lost part of American history. So Dave Cockrum splitting his art chores, and so now they got to fill an issue. There you go. A lot of words because that's Chris Claremont to explain that. So we got Ann Nichols, Kurt Hornick, and Dave Clark. I like reading the names of the letters page. If you ever wonder where I get my names from, they're from letter pages from comics. So back to this. Lots of ads with the stories of 17 to 8 pages. Yeah, but it also kept like 30 cents was affordable as a kid. You know, 30 cents even back then, 30 cents wasn't bad. Godzilla was one of Marvel's summer events that year, I think. I don't remember that. So impressive Goblin. I thought Spider-Man had the patent on wall crawling. You don't know, man. Beast. So here we go. Beast versus Nightcrawler. You know, and what he throws Nightcrawler into Colossus. I'll catch you. You know, relax. You know, if you're all tense when I catch you, then you might get hurt. So you got to tense up. And I love this. So what is Cyclops doing? He's covering his eye blast with his arms, which is, you know, so they're showing that his own body is immune to his own blasts, which kind of makes sense because, you know, the recoil should hurt his neck or whatever. But, you know, depends on how realistic you want to get. So he's fumbling around like Daphne looking for her glasses. Thanks, Peter. I'm still too groggy to teleport. And here we got the fastball special. So they don't call it that. So Colossus throws Nightcrawler back at the Beast, and I love this. He uses the momentum to just punch Beast right in the face. Boom. Boom. Dave Clark of the Dave Clark 5? Yeah. I was going to make that joke, but I figured nobody would get it, so I upped it up. I think Banshee debuted early in that Roy Thomas is one. Yeah, I forget the exact issue. 37, 47, somewhere around that. 25, I forget. 35, somewhere around there. More ads. Star Trek. There is a lot of ads. Yeah, you're right. A lot of ads. And now you caught the full brunt of a close-range optic blast, Angel, but you're not even scratched. We all suspected. We're not fighting them. We're fighting images. Go to the head of the class. And I love this. Cyclops is just swinging on a rope. He's just swinging on a rope over here. We got Nightcrawler just grabbing Beast. Wolverine's going crazy. Storm and Jean Grey have been fighting. You can't stop us, but I can. Break off the battle, X-Men. For as I created both the old and X-Men teams, so shall I destroy them. The strain is unbearable. Bing, bing. So he's making them stop. Strain is unbearable. Fighting Mara sedative. The madness to both. So easy, so tempting to give in. Fall asleep again, and that would let the madness. Professor, I think I understand. What's going on? Simple, Wolverine. I am stopping an insane battle that I created. Hold up, troop. If Xavier's behind this, how come I hear someone laugh? Because your benighted mentor is not the mastermind of this. I am. That face, it's like Xavier's, but evil. For I am the deadliest foe he's ever faced. A foe combined powers of the new X-Men cannot defeat. A foe this day, you will all be dead. Sure you will, Chuckles. What? I only meant to stun this up, but I hit him and he disappeared. So what's going on? What's going on? We cut to Stan's soapbox. You know, I love these 7-Eleven plastic cups that you went and you got like a Slurpee, and they came. Here's mine. Odin. What's in it? What's in it? Oh, pirate gold. We got some pirate gold in here. Big old rubber band that's about to fall apart, and an eraser. An eraser and some cat fur. There you go. It's been sitting there forever. And here it is, the debut of Madam Web. This is the first appearance of Madam Web. Madam Web was defeated by Twinkies. Just a sexy chick over here. You know, who drew this? Is this Joe Sinnott? Is this John Romita? I can't tell. Marcus, do you know who drew this? And you, Claude, how can you hope to hurt someone who's not there? What's going on? So now all these illusions, I'm falling into a pit. Well, you know, the senses are so good that it's messing with Wolverine. You should yield. And the old X-Men, what? So all the old X-Men show up to beat the crap out of evil Xavier. That was my evil self, X-Men, the Charles Xavier who would use his powers for personal gain and conquest. The Mr. Hyde to my Dr. Jekyll. Usually I have no trouble keeping that part of my psyche in check. But thanks to my cursed dream, my mental controls are breaking down. My God, I'm going mad. So just another example of Xavier being the bad guy. I never liked Xavier. I always thought he was creepy. He does more harm than good. And this is just another example. So if Xavier gets a fever, he develops the power to create these psychic simulacrums to beat up and nearly murder people. He knows that now it has tormented him in these past few months hasn't been madness at all, but a forced rapport between two telepathic minds that are strongly similar to and yet frightfully alien. And by reliving the first manifestation of this nightmare, he's finally laid his personal demons to rest. The first time in many months, Xavier is at peace, but the X-Men fail as well as they might, that the peace of that life can be measured by blah, 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 blah. So now, this whole story was a Shaggy dog tale. Xavier, the Eric the Red stories going on. Dave Cockrum was drawing John Carter World Out of Mars. They got caught behind, so they dreamed up this fill-in thing. So what's going on in the X-Men? Oh, Xavier's connected to this blah blah blah. Okay, so Xavier he creates mental images. So when Xavier gets can you explain this away as his mind is being infected by alien technology? Yeah. Could you explain it away as Xavier, gets a fever in his mind? Yeah. But it just shows you that if mutants could get a fever and create murderous beings, is Senator Kelly wrong? We need to watch these people. But there you go. Not the best. Another subpar issue of the classic run of the X-Men. We got what's this guy's name? Oh, do they have his name? What's Super Bold introduced the body goes blah 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 blah. It's not Mike Marvel. I don't know who this is, but I always like this picture of the dynamite coming out of the muscles. Fishing, because back then people used to actually go outside. This ad is just great. Look at this. Jack Davis presents with Rick Barry and Dr. J. They just show up in the hood and then beat a bunch of kids at basketball. Selling basketballs. Back when kids actually did physical things. They read comic books, but they also went fishing. They also cared about having muscles, and they played basketball. Overall, this is probably my least favorite of this run of X-Men. Not the greatest. To fill in. And why did they even make it then? Because they had to. Marvel, and they had to deal with the newsstands. So they could have just waited another month or so and then put out what they were supposed to put out, which was the continuation of the Fire Lord and Leandra and all that. But the newsstand needs to sell comics. The newsstand don't give a crap about Dave Cockrum taking too long to draw John Carter. If the newsstand doesn't have that slot to fill, they'll fill it with something else, and then you lose your place. But more importantly, you're a breach of contract. Marvel Comics has to give this many comics every month to the newsstand to sell. And if they don't have product to sell, they're a breach of contract and can get sued. So this business model kept the comics coming out fast, and a lot of people could argue, oh, my quality, but the quality was there. These comics were awesome. Look at all of these great comics that came out on a regular schedule, forced by necessity and economics and legal contracts and everything like that. They did it. They made good quality comics. It's possible. You don't need 5 years between issues. But this is one of the exceptions. This comic, they just had to poop out something to keep the lawyers from suing. Not the worst, not the best. And I don't think the ramifications were really thought up too well. Like, oh, if Xavier could get infected and then he develops a power that he never had before, I don't know. Not my favorite. This is probably, as of so far, this is my least favorite issue of the X-Men. Although I did put paper on this and draw this over and over again. The last 2 pages show Xavier 2 places at once. He was projecting himself into the dead. Yes, he was. Like I said, it's poor. It's a poor issue. It's poorly plotted, and it just shows you they just whipped this together. Like the artist didn't have enough reference to do the powers correctly. You know what I mean? It's just a mess. Also, they already paid the print this issue. if it wasn't delivered by the list. Oh, okay. See, another. So they pay in advance, and if you don't get it there, that's not my fault. That's not my fault. Like it's at work. I'm a construction worker. Like if we get to a job and the material's not there, the customer doesn't want to hear it. That's not our fault. You signed a contract. You're supposed to have 10 guys here. They're supposed to be able to start work right away. So we show up and we got no power tools and we got no pipe and we got no copper wires and stuff like that. And we just mill about that day. We still get paid because we showed up, and the contractor is like, or the customer is just like, I'm not paying for this. And now the contractor is out a day's pay times 10. It's the way things. So you got to be organized. And this just showed you that. So I'm starting to see why Dave Cockrum left. He couldn't keep it up. And I guess Dave Cockrum or Chris Claremont was like, I'm working on other stuff. He didn't feel like just spinning another yarn. So I'm done. So there you go. An hour and 7 minutes. Do you want to keep going? That means engage in the chat. If the chat isn't engaged, we'll shut it down. So I'll tell people my schedule for the week. Again, I'm going to work at 3:30, leaving work around 10. So, Omnipro is already out. See you, Omnipro. So, I'm scheduling everything at 11:59. That way I could give because if I say midnight, people are like, which day? If I say Tuesday at midnight, am I talking, the 12th or the 3rd or the 13th? You know what I mean? So I say 11:59. So tomorrow at 11:59 p.m., Telepathic Bunny and myself will be talking theology with the Book of Job. Tuesday at 11:59 p.m., Heather Velli and I will talk about her comic. Wednesday at 11:59 p.m., Phil Diaz will be talking. And then Friday at 12 noon, Tonic Ball and myself will do John and Tonic, and we're going to talk about Alien, the first Alien movie. And then at midnight, we'll do It's Clobbering Time, and we'll talk about Solomon Kane versus Van Helsing. And then Sunday, we'll do Sunday Comics X-Men 107. So that's my week schedule. Pretty full week. Got nothing for Thursday. So Thursday, I might do this stack of comics that I've been reading. So there you go. I just saw that I had an event scheduled, but it's on the wrong day. So I'm deleting it before I confuse myself. So that's my week schedule. I actually have a pretty full week. Jim Shooter was the first editor-in-chief to get all the Marvel comics. Yeah, and that's why they hated him. There were a bunch of hippies running around at this point, like, just war art takes, you can't rush quality. I'm just gonna, go to the casino, whatever, And Jim Shooter was like, no, we have contracts. This costs us money. You got to produce, and they hated him for it. And I can understand everybody hates the foreman. Every time I go to a job, this foreman's an asshole, this foreman's a jerk, or whatever. But the foreman is just a guy trying to get the work done. You know what I mean? And he's got 80 guys. So he's dealing with the customer, he's dealing with the contractor, he's dealing with the supply people, he's dealing with the other trades, and now he's dealing with workers, and the workers all got their own problems. They got a sick mother, and they got a kid that's autistic. You know what I mean? So the foreman is always on edge. I don't envy the foreman. I don't want to do it. And that's what Jim Shooter was. He was daddy that had to spank all the children, get them to behave. There was a lot of fill-in issues back then. So that's why I thought Jim Shooter was great. He came in, he yelled and screamed from what I heard from John Romita Sr., that Jim Shooter was a fixer, and he fixed everything. And then once everything was fixed, he started fixing things that didn't need to be fixed, and that's where he got himself, in trouble. So there was a point where Jim Shooter just needed to, stand there as a guardian and then like play whack-a-mole. Like when a problem arose, crush it. But when there's no problem, you don't need to crush. But there you go. Love Jim Shooter. Best point in comic book history in my mind. So I got nothing else to say. And the comments look like they're ending. So I guess this is time for me to say bye, kids.
Goodbye, kids.